Good morning, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to Jays Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden. We're going to talk all things Toronto Blue Jays today. And wow, has this been a crazy news cycle for the last 48 hours. Get Kyle Tucker. Wasn't too long ago that we got Alex Bregman signed up with the Cubbies. It's been this thing, that thing, and oh my God, everywhere. So, including the fact that we had a rock star on Jaybird watching last night. So that was fun to talk with Shane Told of Silverstein to be able to goof around and talk some Blue Jays. We always love that he's on the show, but never any rock questions, only Blue Jays questions. That's where his true, passions lie. So, on that note, let's talk some Blue Jays baseball because, like I said, it's been a little wild, and I am sorry to say, Blue Jays fans, the pursuit of Bo Bichette is over, and it is not ending the way we intended. Bo Bichette signed a 3-year, $126 million deal with the New York Mets. So he'll be playing in NYC. Thankfully, it's not for the Yankees. That at least has a silver lining to it. But holy shnikes, didn't see this one coming, and apparently not too many other people did either, especially the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies had an offer in for him to be a $200 million deal for more years, obviously, but in the midst of this whole thing, the 3-year deal became much more on an average value, but 7 years from the Phillies offered at $200 million was turned down last minute because what it sounds like happened was the not Toronto Blue Jays, the Kyle Tucker fallout played into this a lot. The Mets threw a large sum of money that wasn't 60 million average, unlike the Dodgers for Kyle Tucker, and they missed out. And they said, "Well, God, what do we do now?" And I don't think they put too much thought into it, and just threw a pile of money in Bo Bichette's way. And now he is going to be the everyday third baseman. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. Third baseman for the New York Mets, because where else do you put him? You already got Francisco Lindor making a brick of money. You have newly acquired Marcus Semien and former teammate to Bo Bichette playing second base. Bo Bichette's apparently going to play third base. He's got the arm for it. He's got the movement, and if he's got Francisco Lindor next to him at short, things can work out worse. And apparently Bo Bichette doesn't play first base, so it's probably going to turn into Brett Batty or somebody else for the Mets there. I guess the only other place they would have loved to put Bo Bichette was the outfield, but 'tis what it is. So on that note, Bo Bichette and his insane amount of hits every season are going to play well at the top of that order for the New York Mets and might finally have saved their offseason. They have been losing and bleeding really good talent, and here we are, 24 days away from spring training, pitchers and catchers reporting, and Bo Bichette finally has a home. So clearly the Bregman Kyle Tucker stuff has insanely started the slide for free agents to finally find a home. So 'tis what it is. So I hope you're all not crying too rough. As much as I wanted to see Bo Bichette back, this team is incredibly good without Bo Bichette still. It would have taken it to another level if we had Bo Bichette or Kyle Tucker. But you look at what we lost. Okay, great. So we did lose Bo Bichette. In this past offseason, we have now added Kozama Akamato. And we're going to have full-time places for, Addison Barger now. All these nice pieces. We're going to get Anthony Santander back. If you can get some level of production back from Santander, merged up with Akamato, this is not a loss. You get equivalent of Bo Bichette back. I know it's not the same, but it is what it is. But now, as everybody moves around the infield, Andres Jimenez is now our everyday shortstop. Ari Clement now our everyday second baseman. Obviously, we have Vlad and Akamato across each other at the diamond. Alejandro Kirk in the back spot, being the captain. And then in our outfield, you're going to have some combination of Addison Barger, Dalton Varsho, Anthony Santander, Nathan Lucas, and Miles Straw. There sure as hell could be a lot worse roster construction right there. And that isn't even mentioning what we have down the farm in Joey Loberfido, Jonathan Clase, down the street a ways, maybe a year or two extra. You have Arjun Mamala and JoJo Parker at shortstop. This is a very, very deep Toronto Blue Jays team this year. The roughness that we saw is not going to be as crazy as it was. You know, we have a rotation that's now pushed Eric Lauer back into the bullpen. You have Gossman, Cease, Bieber, Savage, and Barrios to anchor this actual rotation. We're going to have a healthy Jimmy Garcia back. All these things. It's wonderful what we have going on as Toronto Blue Jays fans right now. And that is assuming still nothing else happens. They have enough depth here at that ready to be major league level with Joey Loperfido, kind of like people. Loperfido's been batting 300 every time he's come up. So he might need a break too, to be able to get into this whole thing. And you got guys that, we could trade one of those top prospects for a top bullpen arm, or just go nuts and go after like Fernando Tatis or something. That's the wonderful fun part we're going to see in these last few days before spring training. So you might be asking yourself, what is next? Personally, I want to see us just ruin our competition. Go over to Cody Bellinger and go, we had this money ready for Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette. Would you like to come play in Toronto and just completely steal the one player that the New York Yankees seem to even have any give a crap about pursuing this offseason? I think it'd just be that nice little cherry on the top. Plus, he is an incredibly good player. And if you see how these other roster, expansions and free agent moves have been, they've been short term, a lot of money. Blue Jays can play with short term and a lot of money if they wanted to steal somebody like Cody Bellinger. I just think that would be that, like I said, just put the notice to the American League East that's like, hey, guess what? We're going to do whatever we have to win. And sometimes that just means beating up on your competition, not in more places than just on the field. The Yankee lineup without Cody Bellinger in it will have holes around Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge could potentially not be an MVP because he gets walked so much. Who knows? Those are just some thoughts I had. But that would be a fun one. Or hurry up and go trade for somebody. Get the Mason Miller, or, go get JoJo Romero from the Cardinals, whatever it might be. Take advantage of it. Because now we have some pieces that we can move around. The free agent market's finally dried up to the point where we know what's going on. So, once again, Blue Jays fans, thank you very much for listening. Greatly appreciate you. Check out last night's episode of the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. It was episode 505 of our weekly episodes. Like I said, had Rockstar Shane Told on last night. Make sure you check it out, and we'll talk all things Blue Jays as we go, and have a great day. Cheers.